I just like that it's multicultural demographic. You know what I'm saying? I like to be around a little bit. I like nice people. We're in Florida, guys, and I like it here. I might consider staying. I think we should stay. I mean, it's not like we have any reason to go back to California yet. I like Florida. They're really nice. Little country, but everybody's so nice. None of them Jezebites. I haven't seen it.
Listen, because what just happened in the Blueface universe? Yeah. This is not regular drama anymore. This is full-blown reality TV meets WWE cage match with a sprinkle of family reunion from hell because somehow, someway, Karlissa Saffold and Papa Blue's wife both decided to step into the ring at the same time. And the target? Oh, none other than Brianna. The same Brianna who thought she could just pop off and walk away like nothing would happen. Big mistake. Huge mistake. Now the internet didn't just react. It erupted. We're talking TikTok detectives, Instagram live breakdowns, YouTube comment sections turning into courtroom trials, people picking sides like it's Avengers Civil War. Except messier, louder, and way more disrespectful. Because the second Karlissa opened her mouth, it wasn't a response. It was a full-on drag session wrapped in sarcasm, dipped in shade, and served with zero mercy. And just when people thought it couldn't get any crazier, Papa Blue's wife stepped in like a surprise boss fight. Yeah, double response, double chaos. Now suddenly, Brianna isn't just arguing with one person, she's getting tag-teamed by the entire Blueface family circle. And the internet is watching like it's the season finale of Zeus Network's most toxic show ever created. But here's the part nobody saw coming. Because behind all the yelling, all the clapbacks, all the messy live streams and cryptic posts, there's something deeper brewing. Something that doesn't look like just random drama. People are starting to connect dots. Old tensions, hidden resentment, and rumors that this situation, it might have been building for way longer than anyone realized that, so now the real question is, did Brianna accidentally expose something she wasn't supposed to? Or did Karlissa and Papa Blue's wife just reveal a side of this situation that changes everything? Because what comes next? Oh, it gets way worse. Let's rewind this whole situation back for a second. Because this didn't just come out of nowhere like a random Twitter rant at 3 a.m. No. This right here. This is layered drama, the kind that's been simmering quietly behind the scenes while everybody was distracted by bigger headlines around Blueface and his never-ending circus of chaos. Because Brianna didn't just wake up one day and decide to go viral. She stepped into a situation that already had tension, history, and unresolved issues bubbling under the surface. And when she spoke, it wasn't just noise, it hit nerves, real ones. The kind that make people stop scrolling and start screen recording. Now, if you know anything about Karlissa Saffold, you already know she's not the type to sit quietly and take the high road. Oh no. Karlissa doesn't do silence. She does statements. She does energy. And most importantly, she does clapbacks that come with history lessons attached. So when Brianna started talking, whether it was subtle shade, direct shots, or just her version of telling the truth, it didn't take long for people to realize this wasn't going to end peacefully. Because Karlissa, she heard it, she processed it, and then she responded like she had been waiting for this moment. But here's where things start getting interesting. Because Brianna wasn't just some random outsider throwing opinions. She had proximity. She had access. And in situations like this, access is dangerous. Because the closer you are to the chaos, the more people assume you know things you probably shouldn't. And that right there That's what made the internet lean in hard, because suddenly, people weren't just watching drama, they were trying to decode it. Every sentence Brianna said started getting analyzed like it was a leaked documentary script. People asking, wait, how does she know that? And why is she saying this now? Meanwhile, behind the scenes, things were already heating up. Because once Karlissa responded, it didn't feel like a reaction. It felt personal. Like there were layers behind her words that went way deeper than whatever Brianna had just said publicly. Her tone wasn't just defensive, it was calculated, sharp, and low-key emotional in a way that made people realize, yeah, this isn't surface level anymore. And just when the internet thought they had enough to talk about, Papa Blue's wife entered the chat, and no, not quietly, not respectfully, not diplomatically. She came in like someone who had been holding her tongue for way too long and finally decided, yeah, today's the day. Now picture this like a reality show scene. One person speaks. Another responds. Then suddenly a third voice jumps in. But instead of calming things down, she adds gasoline to the fire. That's exactly what happened. Because now Brianna wasn't just dealing with Karlissa's energy, she had a second voice coming at her from a completely different angle. And that's when everything shifted from drama to situation. Because to people responding separately is one thing, but to people responding with the same intensity, that tells the internet something else is going on. Something coordinated. Or at least something deeply connected. Now the timeline started getting messy. Clips from old lives resurfaced. Screenshots started circulating. People digging up past interactions like internet archaeologists trying to build a full storyline. And the more people looked, the more they realized this wasn't a new conflict. This was an old tension finally exploding in public. And Brianna, she didn't back down. That's what made this even crazier. Because instead of disappearing or softening her tone, she stood her ground, which only made the responses louder, sharper, and more aggressive. It became a back and forth where nobody wanted to look weak, and everybody wanted the last word. At this point, the audience wasn't even watching casually anymore. They were invested, choosing sides, writing full essays in comment sections, turning every new post into a debate stage. Some people saying Brianna was exposing truth, others claiming she crossed a line she couldn't come back from. And right in the middle of it all, Karlissa and Papa Blue's wife standing firm like they were protecting something bigger than just pride. And that's when the biggest question started spreading. What exactly is Brianna saying that triggered this level of response? Because normal drama doesn't get this kind of energy. Normal arguments don't pull multiple people into the spotlight at once. And normal situations definitely don't make the internet feel like they're watching a storyline unfold in real time. So now people weren't just reacting. They were waiting for the next live, the next post, the next leak, the next slip-up that might reveal what this is really about. Because at this point, it feels like everybody involved knows something. But nobody is saying it fully, and that silence, that half-told story, that's what's making this situation even louder than the actual arguments. Now this is where everything completely spirals out of control. Because what started as a messy back and forth suddenly turned into a full-blown internet event. Not drama, an event, the kind where timelines stop making sense, notifications won't stop buzzing, and everybody suddenly becomes an expert analyst on the Blueface universe because the second both sides doubled down. Oh yeah, the internet lost its mind. Memes started popping up faster than people could even process what was happening. We're talking edited clips, dramatic zoom-ins, fake courtroom edits, and people narrating the situation like it was a documentary series. Somebody literally compared this whole thing to a Zeus Network reunion episode mixed with WWE SmackDown, and honestly, that might have been the most accurate description yet. And let's talk about the reactions for a second. Because this wasn't just fans gossiping anymore. This turned into full-on commentary culture. People going live just to break down every sentence, every facial expression, every pause like they were decoding a secret message. because according to the internet, nothing in this situation was accidental. Every word Brianna said, calculated, every response from Karlissa Saffold, strategic, every appearance from Papa Blue's wife, suspicious timing. Suddenly everybody became Sherlock Holmes with Wi-Fi, connecting dots that may or may not even exist. And the wildest part, the theories started getting crazy. People were saying this wasn't even about Brianna anymore. Nope. According to half the internet, Brianna just opened the door. And now all the hidden tension inside that family dynamic is pouring out like a flood. Old grudges, unspoken issues, past situations nobody addressed publicly. Everything is getting dragged into the light. Now here's where things go from chaotic to borderline ridiculous. Because once the meme pages got involved, it was over. They turned this situation into pure entertainment. One post had Karlissa photoshopped like a Marvel villain delivering a monologue. Another had Brianna edited into a courtroom scene with dramatic music captions like Exhibit A and Papa Blue's wife. Oh, they had her entering like a surprise final boss with the caption, "You thought it was over." At this point, the situation wasn't even staying serious anymore. It was becoming a cultural moment. But don't get it twisted. Behind all the jokes, the tension was still very real. Because every time Brianna spoke again, the reactions got louder. Every time Karlissa responded, the tone got sharper. And every time Papa Blue's wife jumped in, it added another layer of intensity that made it clear this wasn't cooling down anytime soon. And then came the contradiction era. Because now people started catching inconsistencies. Old clips resurfacing that didn't quite match the current narrative. Statements that sounded slightly different depending on who was talking. And the internet. Oh, they love a contradiction. That's like fuel to the fire. A contradiction. That's like fuel to the fire. Suddenly, comment sections turned into debate arenas. One side yelling, "Brianna is exposing the truth." The other side screaming, "No, she's clout chasing and crossed the line." And then there's a third group just sitting back like, "We don't even care who's right. This is better than Netflix." And honestly, that might be the most honest reaction of all. Because the way this is unfolding, it doesn't feel like real life anymore. It feels scripted. Like somebody wrote this storyline with plot twists, character arcs, and perfectly timed entrances. Except nobody knows the ending yet. And that's what's keeping everyone hooked. Now let's talk about the energy shift. Because at some point, this stopped being about winning an argument. This became about control. Control of the narrative. Control of public perception. Control of who the internet believes. And when multiple people are fighting for that at the same time, yeah, things get messy fast. And Brianna, she's still standing in the middle of it, not backing down, not disappearing, still talking, still responding, which only makes the situation even louder because now it's clear she's not intimidated by the pressure. If anything, she's leaning into it. Meanwhile, Karlissa and Papa Blue's wife are holding their positions like seasoned veterans in this chaos game. No hesitation, no softening, just straight pressure every time they speak. And the internet, they're eating it up like it's the season finale of the most toxic show ever created. But here's where things take a strange turn. Because in the middle of all this noise, all this chaos, all these reactions, people started noticing something subtle, something that doesn't quite add up. Little moments, small hints, energy shifts in how things are being said, almost like not everything is being revealed, like there's still a missing piece to this whole situation that nobody has fully explained yet. And the more people watch, the more they feel it. That feeling that something bigger is hiding behind all this drama. So now the internet isn't just reacting anymore. They're waiting, watching closely, replaying clips, reading between lines, trying to catch the moment where somebody slips up and accidentally reveals the truth behind all of this. Because if this is how wild things have already gotten, what happens when that hidden piece finally comes out? And just like that, the noise starts to shift. Not disappear, oh no, this is way too big to just fade away, but it transforms. Because after all the yelling, the memes, the lives, the reactions, comes the part nobody prepares for. The aftermath. The part where everything said starts to actually mean something. Because now, people aren't just laughing anymore. They're watching differently. You can feel the tone change across the internet. The jokes slow down just a little, the reactions get a little more serious, and suddenly everyone's asking the same question. Okay, but what happens next? Because at this point, this isn't just entertainment, this is a storyline with consequences, and everybody involved is still standing in the middle of it. And let's be real. The pressure is heavy now. Because when you go this public, this loud, this messy, there's no going back to normal. Karlissa Saffold didn't just respond. She planted a flag. Papa Blue's wife didn't just speak. She made it clear she's part of this narrative now. And Brianna? She didn't just defend herself. She locked herself into the spotlight whether she wanted to or not. Now the internet is watching every move like it's the final episode of a series. Every post gets dissected. Every silence gets questioned. Because now silence, oh yeah, silence speaks louder than words. If someone doesn't respond, people assume something's wrong. If someone responds too quickly, people assume they're panicking. There's literally no winning at this stage, just surviving. And that's where the emotional cracks start showing. Because behind the sarcasm, behind the shade, behind the viral moments, there's real tension, real pressure, real consequences. You can hear it in the tone shifts, see it in the body language, feel it in how certain words start carrying more weight than before. This isn't just internet fun anymore. This is personal. And while the audience is entertained, the people involved, they're dealing with the reality of what happens when private tensions explode in public. Because once the internet grabs hold of a story like this, it doesn't let go. It stretches it, flips it, twists it, and sometimes completely rewrites it. Now here's where things get even more complicated. Because alliances, yeah, those start shifting fast. People who were neutral suddenly pick sides. People who were quiet suddenly speak up. And some people, they start distancing themselves completely, not wanting to get pulled into something that's already spiraling out of control. It's like watching a house of cards. One move changes everything. And right in the middle of all that, the narrative keeps evolving. Because new details start surfacing. Not always confirmed, not always clear, but enough to keep the conversation alive. Enough to make people question everything they thought they understood about the situation. And that's when confusion kicks in. Because now nobody knows what's fact, what's opinion, and what's straight-up internet imagination. And Brianna, she's still part of that storm. Standing in a position where anything she says can either help her or make things worse. And that kind of pressure, it changes how people move. It forces decisions. It creates moments where one sentence can flip the entire narrative upside down. Meanwhile, Karlissa and Papa Blue's wife remain solid in their stance, but even that comes with weight. Because when you come this strong, this direct, this unapologetic, people expect consistency. They expect follow-through. They expect the same energy every time. And if that energy shifts even slightly, oh, the internet notices immediately. And just when it feels like things might start slowing down, something unexpected happens. A clip, a comment, a moment that wasn't supposed to mean much suddenly starts getting attention. People replaying it, zooming in, breaking it down frame by frame like it's a hidden clue in a mystery movie. And the more they analyze it, the more one idea starts spreading. Wait, hold on. What if this whole situation wasn't just about Brianna at all? What if she was just the spark? Because now people are looking back at everything, past interactions, old tensions, previous conflicts, and realizing this might have been building for way longer than anyone admitted. Like Brianna didn't create the chaos. She just triggered it. And if that's true, That changes everything. Because now the story isn't about one person versus another. It's about a system of tension finally cracking in public. It's about emotions that were already there finally being forced into the spotlight. And once something like that starts, it doesn't just stop. So now we're left with a situation that feels unfinished. No clear winner, no clean ending, just layers of drama, emotion, and unanswered questions hanging in the air like a cliffhanger that refuses to resolve. And the internet, oh, they're not satisfied. They want more. They need more, because if this is how wild things got already, then what happens when the next chapter begins? And just like that, we've reached the end of this chapter. But let's be real, this story is nowhere near finished. Not even close. Because if you thought this level of chaos was the finale, you might want to stay seated, because something tells me the next episode is about to be even messier. So now I gotta ask you, whose side are you on in this whole situation? Are you riding with Brianna and thinking she exposed something that needed to be said? Or are you backing Karlissa and Papa Blue's wife, believing they had every right to shut it all the way down? Don't be shy either. I already know the comment section is about to turn into a full courtroom debate with lawyers, detectives, and I told you so experts popping out of nowhere. So go ahead. Drop your opinion below and let it fly. And while you're at it, make sure you smash that like button like it owes you money. Because if this drama had you even a little bit entertained, you already know you enjoyed every second of this chaos. Don't even try to act innocent now. Hit subscribe too, because trust me, you do not want to miss what happens next. The way this story is unfolding, we're definitely getting a part 2, part 3, and probably a whole reunion special at this point. And turn on notifications so you don't come back late talking about wait, what did I miss? Because by then, the internet will already be 5 steps ahead of you. Until next time, stay messy, stay entertained, and stay tuned for more unfiltered drama right here on CLEBSYNC. Right here on CLEBSYNC.